Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is League Unlock. We are back. Eric here with Mark as always as we have the debut weekday matches of the LCK 2021 spring. We've already got plenty of LPL under our belt, but Korean action getting underway. And remember, this is the new era, new intro, franchising in the LCK. And, of course, the LCK more than any other league. We're always looking at these teaser videos to see if they're up to snuff, up to the highest level. This one was a little underwhelming this year. I'm going to say that. Underwhelming.
You know what? Especially coming from a rebrand, this new era really for the LCK, franchising, new teams, everything else that's happened this offseason. Yeah, I was expecting there to be a bit more flash, a bit of a bang to start the year, and a bit let down by that production.
It was nicely edited. It kind of looked like a True Detective intro, if you've ever watched that show, with people's heads having trees and stuff in them. But that was very True Detective. I feel like they were inspired by that. But the key with these is you got to tell the story of the offseason, of the changes that came in, and I felt like that wasn't captured.
I don't think they captured it, but I will say I'll take it over feeling like a champ like we were last year.
Yeah, that one. The OGN days are behind us, so But in a teaser video like that, go back about 8 years now, Faker is going to be prominent. He's going to be there. He's going to get the most screen time in almost any teaser video that he's been to. But really, the man who should be getting all the attention in these teaser videos is Clozer, right? Faker's not even the starter on T1.
It's the new era of the LCK, not just in the rebranding and the franchising, but who is playing and who is that guy for T1? And look, game one, first game, one game. Let's not read too much into this, guys. Be careful, be calm, patient. I know, if anything, we've seen from the T1 fan base, being calm and patient has not been
in the vocabulary
they're known for, especially this year. But let's have it here with this situation with Faker and what you're seeing. We saw the announcement. We talked about it a bit yesterday that T1 was going to be going forward with a full-on 10-man roster. We're doing the full-on scrims. Everyone's getting scrim time. We're working on this. We'll see who is the real lineup. And I think everybody took that as, okay, we're going to see more Clozer. We should see more Gumiyashi. These are the type of players that we're going to see worked in, as well as Zeus and other options into this lineup. You're going to see players shifting around. Game one, hey, that was not the lineup I think a lot of people would have expected. But hell, it was a lineup that performed.
Yeah, the kids absolutely showed up. None of these guys born before the year 2000. This is the full Zoomer squad coming in, and what did they do? Well, they almost perfect gamed Hanwha Life in their first match on the Rift. A couple of dragons, the only thing preventing them from doing that. And I mean, after that game one, you're saying, absolutely, we're running back this team again, this exact squad. How could you not?
You had to be crazy if you were not going to at that point. What you saw, how they played around the map, how they were performing. And again, this is important to consider that this is not just, stepping into the first game of the year, they're going up against Jin Air. No. This is against Hanwha Life. And yes, you can nitpick around, and we will, Hanwha Life's performance and some of their choices. But this is a squad that the expectation has to be there performing at a playoff tier level.
Absolutely.
And that's what and to get this level of performance from the T1 rookies right out of the gate, things you love to see.
And then we roll into game two. They get that second opportunity, and Hanwha Life, they show up much better. We get a 24-minute Infernal Soul, which is pretty insanely early, and pretty much GG, which it ended up being. And we also got to see your girl Rel in the bot lane for Vista. I wasn't even sure if she was going to be eligible to play in week one, but here she is making the Rift to somewhat of an impact.
Yeah. I'm still needing to see more impactful matches from her, I think, to make more of a judgment on it. What I have seen is that, she's got an incredible ability, obviously, to get that CC chain going, right? To start it all off, make that engage, and let someone else clean up with that damage. That's what we saw in this one. The damage was absolutely there on every single time Vista was engaging on the rep.
Yeah, and it's a more fun-looking Leona. I think we've talked about that before, right? It's a new champion. It's always some old champion 2.0 when a new one rolls around. And
it's a shame sometimes, but here I'm okay with it because it looked pretty darn fun watching Rel work on the Rift.
So they tied the series up 1-1, and you might think in LCK eras past, as soon as you drop a game to go to game 3, it's bring in the subs, completely change the entire squad. I was happy to see that they kept the same starting 5. I much prefer you go into a series, especially in the regular season. When it's playoffs, it's a different story. But in the regular season, just start that roster. You know, for the series, say, listen, you 5 are playing this series. It doesn't matter if you have a bad game and you're going to get subbed out, because then you don't have this mental block sitting in the back of their mind the whole time. Oh, if I make a misplay in this game, I'm going to get subbed out. No, you're here for the series. So they come back for game 3. And what does Clozer do? Well, he's solo killing Chovy. Mark, how often do you see Chovy get solo killed?
I'll tell you what, you don't see that pretty much. You can go back every split, and you really have to be nitpicking to find those moments that he does get solo killed. But Clozer brought it, man. He brought the heat in this game 3 and absolutely clutched it down, when most people, would think that you're bringing in the Clozer himself and Faker, right, to come in and close the deal. It is Clozer the Clozer. He's there to get it done. And as you said, mentioning that, this seemed like it was the idea from the T1 coaching staff right away, that even if there was a slip up or something of that nature, you would let this lineup, these young guys, roll it out for today in this matchup against Hanwha, which, look, one game, beginning of the split, and every time, I know still we can talk about every game matters and all these type of things. If you're a team like T1 and you've shown what you have, the level of skill and potential that you have, spending one game at the beginning of the split to go, okay, it's the young guns, let's see what they can do, rolling out through a full match. Yeah, you're not paying too big of a price. And what you get, the payoff, what you get here for investing, believing in these players, having them come through and shine in these moments, go through these little patches, however insignificant you might seem, of an adversity in a match. These things, these experiences all add up. And when we're talking about these Zoomers, hey man, any lessons you can add to your brain feels like a win for the squad.
And Gumiyeshi was fantastic as well. Had an unofficial pentakill to close things out. Looked disgusting on the Samira, as a lot of people do. But, now this is a fully new coaching staff. People were upset that he was starting over Teddy throughout their final series against Gen G last split. And everyone said, well, it was Coach Kim benching Teddy at the end. But now this coaching staff has a full offseason with the squad, and they still want to start him over Teddy in that first week. I'm very curious how this roster, these changes are going to go throughout the split. Is it going to be a full wave, like almost a full 1A, 1B, where Faker, Cuz, Teddy, maybe even Zeus are all going to sub in at a single given time? I feel like they're going to move more towards that than interchanging one or two players.
Right. I feel like the beginning months, right, and what we're seeing and how they experiment and how much, they're willing to change around the roster. Hopefully, you would think after the first couple of months, you would start to solidify into a more established order within the organization as far as who you can expect starting, all these type of things. That's a different story. You are talking about Gumiyashi in the bot lane and what you can expect from who's going to be playing ADC for T1. It is a real question because Gumiyashi has so much potential. That ceiling is so incredibly high, and we've seen it. You've seen it in real LCK games. You've seen it in his solo queue games. You've heard it from the people that are, playing support with him in those games. He is absolutely the real deal. The problem is Teddy's a real deal, my man. Teddy is one of the dreams that you've had as far as what you could possibly get from an ADC in the LCK. These are the type of dream problems any organization would like to have. Going to be extremely interesting to see how it plays out, but especially as someone who is personally a fan of Teddy, you know what? As much as I love him on the T1 organization and want to see some success, this guy's too good to be just sitting in as a 1B type of option for anything longer than a year. So I'm going to have to see how it plays out.
T1 has this luxury of, the academy team that they're going to be scrimming against is potentially a top 3-4 team in the
got
LCK.
Teddy and Faker on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're scrimming, 2 of the 4 top teams might be T1 coming out in this spring split, which is absolutely insane. Hanwha, we knew it looks like a downgrade from DRX. Unfortunately, definitely got outclassed in this series. We'll have to wait and see if he has that bounce back. But for now, did take a 3-game set, but the T1 rookies get it done to start the season 1-0. A squad that already started the season 1-0. was IG. Remember how impressive that 2-0 absolute stomp, shellacking, whatever word you want to use, against JDG. Supposed to be a top team, favorites to get deep or at least maybe even win the title again in the LPL. So everyone's riding high on IG, and classic Invictus fashion, they say, all right, we're matching up against LNG. Shouldn't be a playoff team, shouldn't be a problem. Oh, snap. We got 2-0'd, and of course, this is the debut of Tarzan in the LPL. But the first game here was... It's over in the first fight because it's 4 kills that go over to LNG, and then this Tristana, which we haven't really seen far early in 2021, gets so disgustingly fed that you can't play the game.
With the level of power that Tristana was dealing with at that point, I don't care what champions you were. I don't care what ability, unless you're really the Riot devs when they're messing around with how insanely OP we can make Nautilus in the practice tool. Outside of that, I have not seen a champion really dominate the way that this fed Tristana was able to in game one. You said it, Tarzan's debut in the LPL. We liked what we saw. I liked what I saw from him. I thought that he was definitely the Tarzan that we know from the LCK stepping on in. And you better believe he was very thankful for the welcoming gift to the LPL from IG to, drop a level in their performance, but certainly drop a level in their mental performance and awareness in this match compared to how they started the year.
And just remember, there were maybe made up rumors, but it was IG Tarzan supposed to go over there. So maybe saying, look what you guys missed out on. But yeah, that first game, again, just to highlight this Tristana, 6-0-7, 100% kill participation. At one point, he was level 16 and Wink's Jin was level 12. I don't think I've ever seen an AD carry with a 4-level discrepancy in a game. That is disgusting.
There's not many situations where I'm really gonna say that the Jin would ever take a favored match into the Tristana, let alone that type of power discrepancy between the two of them. You had the Tristana basically just hip-hop jumping right away through every single team fight, collecting kills left, right, and center. It was easy.
4-level difference in the jungle is crazy, but not out of the question. In AD carries, seeing a 4-level, it's out of the question. We'll never see it again. Absolute insanity. So we go into game 2, and IG's credit, they bounce back. It is a much more competitive back and forth game. We get to see Rookie on Orianna running around trying to keep IG alive across the map, which is nothing new there. And we get the Shy on Vayne tumbling in 1v4. Nothing new there. Except this time, he didn't come out on the right side of a lot of these highlights.
This is a great example, obviously, of let alone just the result, but this is a clear indication of, okay, let's be careful about jumping way back into IG's back to the very, very best top of the table form. Yeah. Because the Shy shows us he's still the Shy sometimes, and we're not talking about popping off the Shy. We're talking about the Shy thinking that, yeah, absolutely invincible the Shy. Anything but.
You can't quite play Vayne the same play style that you would a Mega Gnar. It doesn't quite work out. The ulti works a little bit differently there. But this series, again, you had Light on the Tristana. Again, he performed well. Obviously, he wasn't nearly as fed in this game. But you also had Icon on the Zoe, who had a fantastic game. One of the key moments around the Baron, made the game-winning play. And I know Mark loves talking about Zoe one-shotting people.
Oh my God, this champion, my man. It's been here ever since she was introduced, and we saw it coming before she's introduced. Did not like it. Didn't like what we were hearing. I'll settle. I'll settle and say, you know what? We've seen some phenomenal Zoe performances. We've seen some players take it to levels of disgusting on the Rift. But seeing these one shots that just change the game, man, every time, I cannot take it.
She's a difficult champion to play, to master, absolutely no question. But when she is played to that high level, there's no way to play around it. There's no counterplay to it, and that's the biggest issue that we've complained about with the 10,000 years champion. Listen, Aphelios 200 years is great. Zoe's 10,000, guys. Come on,
see, the thing is, with Aphelios at 200, you are seeing it almost every time. Zoe with the 10,000, not everybody gets to the 10,000 years Zoe. When you see it, your brain gets one shot. That's blink. What happens, my man.
Don't blink, and then the team fight's over. But LNG, listen, they looked fantastic. And this is a team that, we had them outside of the playoffs, but they could absolutely be a dark horse team. This is one series against what we assume will likely be a coin flippy IG roster, but I was very impressed with the debut. Tarzan didn't look like 2019 or 2020 Griffin Tarzan that we saw in spring, thankfully.
And even considering that, talking about a coin flippy IG roster and what they can achieve, they're still a playoff caliber team in the LPL.
Oh, they're even top four.
Even at their coin flippiest moments type of things, they're still capable of achieving that type of power. And when you look at LNG then picking up this series victory, these are the type of things that, even though it's, one series, beginning of the year, who cares, all these type of things, having a win against IG down the line, these type of things add up. They definitely help your case. And especially when you start thinking about, hey, we already picked up a win against IG. That's one off the scoreboard that you're not expecting, even if you're a team like LNG trying to push for that playoff territory. So still, got to take the victories where you can. And this one is a big thumbs up for your LNG boys.
Yeah, and we thought maybe Plex will be getting time over Icon, but he went toe-to-toe with Rookie. And for IG, for all the great praise in their win against JDG, it was Rookie and Junt being fantastic. It looks like it's just going to be 2020 over again, potentially for IG, where Rookie is like just trying his damnedest, man, to keep the team afloat. Poor guy.
It absolutely is very clear that these level of performances, level of carelessness, I think from the Shy is absolutely not going to be the level acceptable to be a top 3, top 2 type team from IG, with even that happening. Yes, playoff squad. But absolutely, to just limit this IG squad as just a playoff team, that's very sad.
The standard and expectation should be much higher for them. They should be looking for buys deep into the playoff runs. They should be looking at LPL titles, because that's what they've been synonymous with over the last couple of years. We'll see if the other team can step up. The rest of the team can match Rookie's level, but for now they're sitting 1-1, which is absolutely fine. Just ask Top Esports. The other match, the actual opener of the LCK, we had Gen G versus KT Rolster. And to be honest, this series was just exactly what you expected. I mean, you look at these rosters, you're saying, yeah, Gen G should be huge favorites. And Gen G, if you told me this, if you turned off the items, I would say this just looks like another 2020 game. It looked like the exact same Gen G, played it slow, pretty dominant, methodical. As soon as the opponent makes a mistake, they absolutely jump on it and snowball the game.
If you're looking really for anything out of the ordinary or to nitpick or praise really from the Gen G side, hey, it was business as usual. This was the expected performance, not only from the organization and the 5 members, but from everybody individually. They all performed to the levels that you would have expected or asked for from them in an individual series. I want to flip this to the KT Rolster side, and I know that this is not maybe the biggest or most exciting focus, but when you're looking at what they did, how they performed, it was not to an acceptable, LCK or even KT Rolster in their past level of performance. And then especially, unfortunately for him, in the top side, Doran. Doran really, really struggled today. And
10-2 across the two
right.
games.
And this has been a situation from, his time on Griffin where a lot of people, and ourselves included, said, okay, let's see you take these next steps. Continue to improve yourself as an individual player, as a top laner, because that's what you need to do to keep climbing up this ladder of the top laners in the LCK, let alone, at international events. And then you have this series where it really, again, shows that there is still those steps to be made for someone like Doran. And he's falling behind really now when you're starting to look at some of the talent that's being brought into the LCK at the top lane, or even brought up from the challenger scene in the LCK. He is someone that didn't perform to the level today specifically. And I think moving forward, that might be a point that if KT is going to turn things around, hey, you cannot be stepping out like today.
Unfortunately, I think for KT, turning things around is, not finishing bottom 3.
Unlikely.
Like that's the good, nice season, guys, as if they finished 7th or something. I think that's about as high as the expectation can be for them. But yeah, Gen G against a team that they should absolutely beat. They got the job done. Ruler looks fantastic. If Kai'Sa's back in the meta, which she obviously is. He's just another guy who's going to reap the rewards and dominate on that pick. And we got to see BDD's Yone, so that's fun.
And hey, as you heard us talking about it all this time, they heard us talking about, man, this is the selling point. These guys keep talking about life set. Let's show them what life set is nasty. In the LCK.
He was nasty.
And he delivered a pretty steady performance. Wasn't superstar level set. We've seen life do a little better, but wasn't necessary on the day when you, of course, as we said before, had everybody, all 4 other members, and then life himself included, all performing at a high level for Gen G right out of the gates.
Yeah, one of the reasons Doran looked so bad is because Rascal played pretty well in both of those games. So it goes both ways when you're talking about that top lane matchup. The other LPL match that got underway, you had WE versus V5, the debut of V5, the Cinderella boys from last year. And basically, game 1, pretty big stomp in the favor of World Elite. Game 2, pretty big stomp in the favor of Victory 5. Game 3, close, back and forth game, which is exactly what you want in a series. Great story to tell, and it ended up being V5 was in the driver's seat, Mark. They had that third game, and then Shanks on the Syndra over the wall, steals a dragon, and not just any dragon. It's the Infernal Soul. And then the next few team fights, that Infernal Soul just carries World Elite to a victory.
Yeah, that's absolutely one of those game-breaking moments, and that's one where you have to look at it and criticize, Victory 5 for not doing the due diligence, not being fully aware, prepared for this type of play to happen.
It's always
right?
a Syndra. It's always Syndra.
It's always the Syndra combo, man, that's able to step on through and get that damage down to seal it. Don't need no smite, man. When you can do a quick burst of damage like
Half
that,
the time it does more damage than smite, anyways. That's how insane
exactly.
Syndra is.
Nice and easy.
So now World Elite moves to 2-0. They're at the top of the LPL table, but for Victory 5, I think still plenty of positives to go off of. I still think this is going to be a playoff team for sure. Both of these squads look like absolute playoff contenders. But Shanks, he had that steal. He also showed up in a big way the rest of this series. He's the biggest question mark for World Elite, and he was pretty good in this one.
And as you said, these 2 teams, World Elite and Victory 5, are absolutely squads you're looking at in the playoff picture. And still, I was gonna say, if you really want to push it, you can start to move them towards kind of that middle tier of that playoff picture, right? As not being quite on the bubble. There might be some situations for it, and as you said, if Shanks was shaky, if his performance is not up to that level for World Elite, that's one of those things that you can absolutely see them fall into that lower tier of a playoff situation, or even possibly be bounced out of the playoff picture. Wasn't the story, man. He absolutely showed up, as you said, in all the games, even in the game 2-1 where they got beaten down. I thought he was still doing an okay job for the squad. And look, that's what they're going to need. World Elite, if you're going to be making the playoffs, you need Shanks to be performing. And hey, brought it today.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, if he does play at a higher level or this same level, then yeah, with Zhubang, Beishang all playing at the level they are, maybe top 4, legit possibility for this World Elite squad. It seems insane when you're talking about the JD, IG, Suning, top esports of the world, but everyone's upsetting everybody right now. That's just LPL action, baby. That's it today, though, for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. Thanks for hanging. We'll catch you on the Flippity Flip.